Welcome to the Dark Nook Monster Shop. One of the best things about Halloween are all the great dollar store skeletons, ridiculous, silly, and fun, and perfect for DIY Halloween crafting. I picked up this little teddy bear skeleton and thought, that's a good start, let's make it into a monster. First, unscrew the screws and pull this guy apart. I want him to be standing up, not sitting down, so I have to reorient the legs. And I want to open his mouth up and fill it with teeth, so that means cutting. And that means bringing out the almighty awl. Here it is again, folks. Easily my most useful tool across all mediums. If this was the MCU, this would be my Wolverine. And these flush-cut angle shears, they'd be my Deadpool. Poke, poke, clip, clip, and before you know it, it's done. I want to give him a mouth full of sharp teeth, but I also want it to look like he's still kind of cute and grinning. Now, this would have been a great time to paint the inside of the mouth when it was apart. A great time. Would have been super easy. I wish I'd thought of it before I screwed it all back together and covered it with glue. So, to attach the now upright legs to the wobbly torso, I use floral wire to tie them together through the screw hole until it's got a sufficient zombie stagger. I want this guy to stand on his own, but I also want him to lean over like he's about to fall over. I use a lot of hot glue to stick it together, and then hold it in position while the glue cools. Then, like the artistic genius that I am, I put glue all over the seam so this skull is never coming apart again. Then, I glue that to the body with even more glue. Damn, I'm clever. That pose does look pretty dope though, right? For a dollar store skeleton and some hot glue. I'm gonna sculpt over this, but I need to add some extra support here so he'll be able to stand up. So I glued this little bit of skewer to the foot, just to add some extra stability. Now I decide to paint the inside of the mouth. Finally, now that it's the most cramped way possible, I decide to paint the inside of the mouth in the most awkward and twisty way that you can come up with. But it doesn't have to be perfect, so I dab off the excess with a wet paper towel and add a bit of shading to the eyes and ears. Then I sponge on some brown to age the skeleton a bit. If you enjoy my videos, please hit that like button and subscribe. And if you have any questions or suggestions about monsters you'd like to see me make, leave a comment down below. And thanks for checking out my video. Now that's dry, it's time to start sculpting. I'm using foam clay, and the trick to getting good results from foam clay is working in stages and layers. The first stage is making teeth and eyes ahead of time. The second stage is starting out with simple shapes and refining them. I want this Deady Bear to have the standard flat tube arms and legs that stuffed bears have. I don't want it to have paws or claws like a real bear. So I shape out the tube and flatten the end, then texture the surface with a stamp. Then I repeat that process for all 4 limbs. Once they're all shaped, I carve out the little round pads on the end of the arms and smooth them with water. By now, the foam is starting to dry out a little bit. It gets kind of a skin over the top layer like cold soup or old pudding, but it's still soft underneath that skin. So you can cut into it and carve it out to create some really great depth, and it'll still hold its position. And it won't upset the surface texture either. This stuff dries surprisingly strong for how thin it is. My concept is a zombie teddy bear, but while it has a skeleton, he doesn't have guts, he has stuffing. So all these places where the fur is ripped away, I'm going to have stuffing hanging out. I start adding more clay and texturing it with the stamp. I put on big globs of clay and then shape them out and refine them. Big shapes when it's soft and smaller details as it dries a bit and firms up a little more. Once it starts to skin over a bit, I can actually peel up the top layer of that skin without disturbing the texture. And I can get some really great effects this way without having to have an armature hold the clay in position because it's already dry and light and strong enough to kind of hold itself in position. It's kind of remarkable how much zombie skin and rotten teddy bear fur look alike too. As for the stuffing, I use real stuffing. I stuff the head first because I got to do the teeth and I can't stuff the stuffing in through the teeth. So once the stuffing's in, I hot glue the teeth on that I made a few days ago. When the teeth are all glued on, I add some clay to the face to make new lips. Then I smooth it with water and add more clay to the rest of the head. I repeat the same texturing and smoothing process, then peel up the edges when it starts to dry a little. When that's all dry, it's time to paint. Dark brown with some Mod Podge mixed in will help seal any of the little cracks in the clay. Cutting into it the way I did can make it dry a bit unevenly, and that can cause cracks. They're not really that big of a deal, but a little Mod Podge will fix it right up. I paint all the green foam brown. Once that's all dry, I go in with a lighter shade of brown for some highlights and to get the ends of the arms. I paint the teeth, and once all the teeth are painted and dry, I go over the face with a brown wash. Then once that's dry, I paint white onto all the areas where I want stuffing to be spilling out. And then another brown wash. When everything's dry, I start stuffing in the stuffing. I put down some hot glue and push a wad of stuffing into the glue. I do this all over and over again, wherever the fabric skin is ripped away and I want stuffing to be sticking out. Then I add the eyes. I put down some more hot glue and drop the glass cabochon eyes into the glue and position the eyes with the almighty awl. Once the glue is fully cooled, I pull all the excess stuffing back off the bear. And then one last dry brush to pop the details. I coat the mouth with Mod Podge, and also Mod Podge around the eyes and wipe the excess off with a cotton swab. And that's Deady Bear all finished. Thanks for watching the video, and on to the beauty shots. If you liked this video, you might also like one of these videos, or you can click on my face and subscribe. Thanks for checking out my video.